welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is Dianne, your lactation consultant of, I don't know, almost 20 years, 17 years, I think. Yeah, I think that's about right. Anyway, and mother of three, 25-year-old Nathan and twins, Jess and Brandon, who all were breastfed. And that's about it from me.
And I'm Abby, the Badass Breastfeeder. And I have a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old boy, two boys, who were breastfed for a really long time. And my first was formula fed along with breastfeeding for several months in the beginning. And that's me. Oh, I have a social work background. So that's usually what I'm going on about. And today's episode is brought to you by Original Sprout. And what started as one mother's solution to her daughter's sensitive skin is now a trusted line of vegan and cruelty-free favorites, strong enough for babies and effective enough for the whole family. And today's episode is also brought to you by Solid Starts, the app that helps you feel calm and confident when it's time to introduce food to your baby. If you've ever thought, what food do I start with? Or how do I serve strawberries safely? Or chicken or just about any other food? Solid Starts walks you through it step by step. And we will hear more from our sponsors later, but you can head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com. Check out our sponsor page. If you ever need anything, see if you can give them any of your business because they make this podcast possible. And while you're there, scroll down and enter your email address and we'll send episodes straight to your inbox every week. And we are on Patreon. We are, oh my God. We're over there. We're doing Revolution Parenting. Patreon is now the home of our Revolution Parenting podcast, the podcast that we created to bring kinder and more compassionate adults into the world. We believe that this starts at home with how we parent our children. And we talk about child development, discipline, boundaries, attachment parenting, and so much more. You will have a community of badasses at your service to receive parenting support during the most challenging of times. You can also access lactation support from your fellow badasses, from Dianne.
Yep.
Your membership helps fund evidence-based, no-nonsense support here on the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast and at Revolution Parenting. Head to the top link in the show notes under this episode, wherever you are listening from, and join us over there. We are still hosting our ongoing giveaway for people who leave reviews around the internet, like on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you're listening from. Leave a review, take a screenshot, send it along with your address to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com, and we will send you a goodie bag of Thank You for Nursing in Public cards and podcast stickers. If you can't leave a review, just share the podcast on your socials, send a screenshot of that. We just want help getting the word out about the podcast. We are sending out goodie bags all the time. So do that. We sent out a couple. I had actually, there was some emails coming in. Oh, also, I always want breastfeeding photos. So if you have breastfeeding photos and you send those over to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com, we'll also send you a goodie bag. And we were sending some goodie bags out for people who have shared photos, and I was having Exley help me. And when he was done and had everything like ready, I was like, oh my God, what are people going to think? They're going to think that I have we were just talking about chimpanzees. Let's say people are going to think I have a chimpanzee here helping me. They were like, first of all, he didn't stuff two of the envelopes and labeled them and licked them shut.
Oh my God.
So there was nothing in it. And he was like, oh my God, I forgot. And so we had to rip it open and then tape it shut. And a lot of them look like they were packaged by a badger.
Oh my God.
But all the stickers inside are great. And so leave a review, send a photo. We happy to have them, and you'll get a goodie bag. And now Dianne has our review of the week.
I do have our review of the week, but I was so into that I forgot to pull it up. But I've got it right here. It's right here. It's right here. I swear. I love this podcast. As a new first-time mom and someone hoping to pursue becoming an IBCLC in the future, she's also a doula. I have recently hyperfixated on breastfeeding. Don't we love ADHD? This has itched my brain in the perfect way. I love it. Keep doing what y'all are doing. So thank you so much. Thank you for being a doula, because that is great work that you are doing there. Mm-hmm. And congratulations on being a first-time mom.
Yeah. And that breastfeeding knowledge is going to really help work as a doula.
My God, so much. Yeah. I don't know how you can do the doula work without having lactation knowledge.
Yeah.
It just all goes together.
It really does.
Mm-hmm. All goes together.
And I have an email from a listener who was wanting to just say thank you about the podcast, and then had a cool story to it. So I wanted to read that. It's from Catherine. She says, "Hello, I listen to your podcast every week and really like it. I wanted to tell you how helpful all of your information was for me last year when I got the flu and pneumonia. I was 6 weeks postpartum and I got the flu and continued to breastfeed through my sickness. Even though I was literally coughing and having snot all over the place, my 6-week-old baby did not get it. She continued to be well because of all the antibodies that she was getting. Even when I was hospitalized for 3 days, I continued to pump every 2 hours just so that I knew that she would get those good antibodies. I praise God that she came out unscathed. Thank you for all that you do and continuing to educate women and empower them." And that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So sick enough to get hospitalized 6 weeks postpartum. What a nightmare.
My gosh.
And pumping and oh God, I swear. That sounds like so much trauma there.
But I think a lot of parents would be really concerned about breastfeeding their baby when they are that sick. But it goes to show that it's okay. And it's better for them. Yeah, it is better for them. So she did the right thing.
Yeah. And it reminds me of, again, we can still think back to the beginning of the pandemic when the United States, the only country that was recommending that parents be separated from their newborn babies to protect them from COVID, which just goes against everything that we know about breastfeeding and breast milk.
And
if we know, we didn't know. Yeah, we didn't. Yeah. We knew very little about COVID. I mean, I think scientists knew more than regular people.
Yeah.
But it's what we do know is that breastfeeding protects the baby's immune system, or it is developing their immune system. And why would we separate them? You've got to keep them together. Keep us together.
I know.
Keep feeding your baby, especially when you're sick. Just lay down. Just lay down with them and let them nurse.
It's all good. They're getting all those good antibodies and it'll help to keep them healthy.
Yeah.
And then I've got one question that came up and this person put this on Buzzsprout, which is fine to do too. You can put it on Buzzsprout if that's where you listen. It says, a couple of Instagram posts by lactation professionals keep showing newborns that have lip blisters and white film on their mouth as a bad latch. My 2-week-old is growing great. I don't have nipple pain and latch looks fine during and post. Should I be concerned if she has some lip blisters and white film on the tongue? From Flat Rock, Michigan. And no, you shouldn't. So some people do say, and actually this is a great intro to what we're going to talk about today.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say this is perfect.
So sometimes people will say that, oh my gosh, your baby's got lip blisters, they've got a tongue tie. Baby's got lip blisters, it's a bad latch. Sometimes they're just learning still. And your baby's only 2 weeks old. I would expect that they're still trying to figure things out. And she might be using her lips to hold on more than she's using her tongue. But sometimes that is just a coordination. And as they learn and grow, they get it figured out. And then you don't see those lip blisters anymore. The white film on the tongue is just milk. So that's okay. That has nothing to do with a bad latch. That's totally fine. What the bottom line is, she's growing well. She is nursing well. You're not having any pain. the latch looks fine. Like, we're not going to mess with what's not broken. So everything is going well, then we're just going to leave it alone. Why would we look for problems where there aren't any problems?
Yeah, I know. I think the lip blisters happen. And while they can be kind of a symptom of other things, if other things are going on, you're going to have other symptoms too. It's not just lip blisters equal this, because those happen.
I remember my son having them too.
Me too.
And I would pick at him and stuff. I always picked at him.
Yeah. Yeah. And the white tongue thing, that's like, what?
They all have a white tongue.
They all do. If
we said a white tongue was a latch problem, they'd all have latch problems.
Every single one of them has milk in their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I don't know. That's a good intro to at least the bad information part of today's talk.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about different trends. And one of them, we can just start there probably, because one of them that we were going to talk about was social media advice and what that trend is like and how it can be good, how can it be bad, right? And in this case, it was kind of bad because they were giving away bad info, and it kind of made her think that she was doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And that something was going on with the way she was feeding her baby, when actually everything sounds like it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been in the social media world for a long time, probably from the beginning of when breastfeeding really started to have kind of a presence there.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, I would say it's very different from, there's ways in which it is very different from 15 years ago, and there's ways in which it is exactly the same. And one of the things that's exactly the same is that people just say everything when they don't know anything. Like, there's a tremendous amount of these support groups and, lactation groups. And, if there's a lactation consultant or something who is like running out, like Breastfeed Chicago. Breastfeed Chicago is a breastfeeding group that is, it actually might not even be called that anymore, but it is a breastfeeding group. It's run by a lactation consultant, and there's several lactation consultants that are like admins there. And there's a couple of them who on every single post will chime in. And like, unless you have that, you are really in danger of just random information getting put out there. And that is the majority, I think, of these parenting groups or these breastfeeding groups or whatever, is that people are like, oh, I'm having a problem with my baby. And, they've got lip blisters, and, they'll show a picture of the lip blister. What is this? And then you'll have people coming in and they're just saying like, oh, your baby has a tongue tie. You should, you can get that, revised, or, your baby probably is, do you have low milk supply? Like maybe you have this, and for a low milk supply, you can just have some oatmeal and
fenugreek.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, you are just saying all of this information that is not correct. And people, I don't know how much anymore people are living and dying by this information, but I know when it all first started that we were all living and dying by this information.
Oh, yeah.
And it was tremendously wrong most of the time. And people, we've talked about a lot of times how, okay, I'll have to stop at some point because I can go on about this all day. But we live in like a very isolated society, right? Like we're not really exposed to our extended family as much as other cultures, or we have been in the past. And we rely a lot on our doctors, but we don't see our doctors all the time. And by the way, they also sometimes have really bad information. And so we're like at home with our newborns, and we're online, and we're getting all of this support. And like online support can be a beautiful thing. It is where I met like some of my closest friends, like through these breastfeeding groups and meeting up. And we're still, our kids are best friends to this day.
Oh.
And that is an amazing thing. And if it wasn't for social media, I probably wouldn't have connected with these people. And that is how social media is so great, like bringing people together, mobilizing people, like, empowering people. But like the clinical information needs to be removed completely from this. And we need to be referred to professionals because there is nobody. Google doesn't know. The moms in these groups don't know the individual situation of you and your baby.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what is going on specifically. And they don't know all the questions to ask. And so it can be just it leads people down, random scary alleys all the time.
I just remember seeing like people when the height of the tongue tie thing was really big, which was a few years ago.
Yeah.
It seems to have died down a little bit, but there was, at the height of it, people would be posting pictures of their babies' mouths in these social media groups, and people were diagnosing them with tongue ties from social media.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't do that. Tongue tie is about how the function is, not about how it looks. So to be like, okay, this is a tongue tie. Yes, your baby's got a tongue tie. Go get it revised. Like I would see people who got their babies revised based on what somebody told them online.
Uh-huh.
And then their baby still was not feeding well.
Because that wasn't the problem.
Exactly. That wasn't the problem. I
remember hearing about, I never met this person or anything, but I remember hearing about, there was I don't know what he was, a dentist or like some kind of medical professional that like all the lactation consultants would refer babies to him, and he would like line moms up like out of his office, and he would just bring them in and like laser snip their tongue or their lip just like all day. Mm-hmm. And it was like, oh, it's no big deal. Like, it's no big deal. No big deal. It'll just heal. It's a really minor thing. And it's like, no big deal. So we just do it. Just do it. And he would just like, all of these babies were just getting their tongues and their lips revised. And like, it was just because the lactation consultant sent them there. And I don't know. I just think that's crazy.
It was crazy. It was a lot going on.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on. And there was a lot
of
people
nothing. It's not nothing.
No, it's not. And there was a lot of people giving advice that were not in any kind of position to give advice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They just were a parent that had a baby with a similar issue. So they thought they could. And they mean well.
Yes.
Like they mean well, but it's not a place to get advice from. It really isn't. It is not a place to get advice about breastfeeding.
And it doesn't matter how similar your situation sounds to someone else's situation. You are two different people. And it is vastly different, like what you're going to be referred to do.
Yeah. And like Abby said, they don't know your history. They don't know your health history. They don't know your situation. They don't know your baby's situation. They don't know what goes on. Like they have no idea. They're not asking the right questions. And how can they on a social media post?
Right.
It's not. And any lactation consultant should not be giving like tons of advice about a situation that they don't know on social media.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good care.
Right.
So they really, you got to be careful about what you're reading. And even sometimes those just basic posts about just random things, not even the social media groups where people are asking for advice. Just sometimes you've got people out there putting up, and we've talked about these when we've talked about myths before, like just putting up these random things like posts about feeding that are so untrue.
Yeah.
That they end up on our myth episodes.
Yeah.
And we laugh about them.
Right. Yeah.
They're so ridiculous. Oh, it's crazy. So yeah, so be cautious about that.
Yeah. Well, should we do some ads and we'll do some more?
Yeah, do some ads and then we're going to talk about wearable pumps because that's the next big trend that's out there.
All right, we'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by Original Sprout. This brand began with a mother's love for her child. Back in 2003, when the founder couldn't find a hair care product gentle enough for her own daughter's sensitive skin, she created one herself, bringing the same care and intention we all use when choosing products for our kids. They use gentle ingredients with no harsh sulfates, parabens, or phthalates. Their formulas are also made without essential oils like tea tree oil or lavender oil, which some families choose to avoid during sensitive stages like postpartum and breastfeeding. What started as one mother's solution is now a trusted line of vegan and cruelty-free favorites among myself and Dianne as well.
Yes.
These products are soft enough for babies and effective enough for the whole family. It's so nice to have a tiny little baby in the house, and you've just got one line of products that you can use for everybody. You don't have to worry about anything about them. I mean, I have teenagers now, basically, so I don't think about that as much. But remember when you have like tiny babies and you're like, oh, well, I can't really use this like salon shampoo.
Right.
Like, I can't, and then you're like, oh, you got to buy this different thing. And this line is great. And they're running a 25% off offer for badasses. So you've got to take advantage of this. Also, get the curl. If you have curls, get the curl comb cream or whatever it's called. Curl comb something. And you use the shampoo and conditioner, right?
I don't use the shampoo and conditioner.
What do
I've
you
used, I've got the cream, the Scrumptious baby cream, because my hands get so dry in the winter.
That stuff is really nice.
Yeah, so that is really good. And I've used like the oils. I've used the Tahitian spray.
I love the Tahitian hair oil stuff.
Yeah, so I've definitely used a bunch of their stuff.
Okay, so you're going to go over to originalsprout.com, and you're going to use code BADASH26. Did I say badash? Badass26 for 25% off. And get a bunch of stuff because it's really great. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
And then today's episode is also brought to you by Solid Starts, the app that helps you feel calm and confident when introducing solid foods to your baby. A lot of us wonder, what food do I start with? How do I serve strawberries safely, or chicken? Solid Starts is going to walk you through this step by step. Inside the app, you'll find a huge first foods database. First foods database. That's like a tongue twister. With simple, age-appropriate serving guidance, plus recipes, practical guides, and tools created by a team of pediatric pros, including feeding specialists, pediatric dietitians, pediatricians, and pediatric allergists. The Solid Starts app also walks you through how to safely introduce common allergens like peanuts and eggs to your baby. Make sure you know when to start, how to offer them, what high risk actually means, and how to build regular exposure in a way that feels doable. It's designed for real life, busy days, messy meals, and all the questions that pop up in between. Whether you're just getting started or you're troubleshooting gagging, overstuffing, or picky phases, Solid Starts is like having a supportive expert in your pocket. And for badass breastfeeders, Solid Starts is offering a discount, 25% off your first year annual subscription. With code BADASS, you can download the app Solid Starts and use code BADASS when you're signing up, or you can go to the show notes under this episode, wherever you are listening from. You'll see it right there. Solid Starts in bold with a link that'll bring you to the app with the discount code already applied, and sign up for this. This is one of my favorite inventions of all time.
Mm-hmm. Can't be easier.
Yeah. And all of our sponsors for today and the promo codes can be found in the show notes under this episode, wherever you're listening from. Or you can go to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com and check out our sponsor page. You can check out all of our other episodes, our favorite resources page, and information about scheduling your very own one-on-one online lactation consultation with Dianne.
Yeah. So we are going to talk next about wearable pumps, because these are a big deal. And I'm not a huge fan because
I know you're not.
The multitasking thing, so my issue with the multitasking thing, it's not like I don't multitask or I can't multitask, but it's like the stuff like this was put together just so mothers can just do multiple things at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why don't we just sit down and relax? And then we wonder, why is our milk not letting down? Why is,
why am I so
why are we
stressed
having
out?
trouble?
Yeah.
Why am I so stressed out? Why am I having trouble pumping? It's like, because there's so much going on. You're trying to do so many things. That's one of the reasons why sometimes people get just too stressed out. But the rise of wearable pumps has just like taken over. Like, people, this is all they're getting. And it really concerns me, especially when somebody says, oh yeah, that their only pump is a wearable pump.
Yeah.
And that can be problematic. And there's a couple of reasons why. So first of all, it is like, people like it because they're multitasking, they're hands-free, they can do a lot of things while they're pumping and just get things done while they're, just crossing things off their to-do list while they're pumping. But the truth behind it is that it is rapidly expanding. The industry of wearable pumps is like getting huge, and they expect to push the global market well over $1 billion by the early 2030s with wearable pumps. I know. So one of the things that like boosted them up is the social media. Like, that is really what kind of took away, because people are on TikTok with them and everything else. And so everybody's saying like, oh yeah, these wearable pumps are great. Da, 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 da. Especially if they're being covered by your insurance company, then that's all people are getting. And they're being told, yeah, this is awesome. These pumps are great. But they're not necessarily good pumps. Now, people love them. Obviously, people love them. But a lot of people that I've talked to, a lot of my clients, a lot of things that I see, a lot of things that I hear from other lactation consultants is that a lot of people report that they don't express as much milk with them.
Yeah.
And they're not a hospital grade. They're not a traditional electric pump. And sometimes they're getting like 15 to 20% less than they would with one of those other pumps.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of milk. And when you're leaving milk behind like that, what does it tell your body? To slow down production.
Yeah.
So it can impact your milk supply over time if you are not draining the breast well with a pump. And it's hard to drain your breast well with a pump anyway. But then when you have a pump that's just taking less because of the way it's made, and because it just isn't made to really drain the breast well, then it's going to be a problem. They often trade your suction strength for efficiency and convenience. So here you are saying like, oh, this is going to be so much better. I can, take care of my kids. I can drive the car. I can, be vacuuming and emptying the dishwasher while I'm pumping and get all this stuff done. But you're trading that for efficiency, which is not necessarily a good thing when we're talking about milk supply. So sometimes they just don't fit really well. I think personally that you have to have like a certain breast size and shape for them to really fit well. You're not going to be able to like flange size them like you would be able to. Like, they do come with different flange sizes, but it might just not fit the same way as it would be if you had a electric, like a good hospital grade electric pump.
Mm-hmm.
Battery life might not be that good. They are small and they're just like small wearables. So they're not going to have the same kind of battery life, same kind of motor. And they might not collect as much milk. So if you're somebody who does produce a lot of milk and you're not really worried about your supply, that's great. But what if you pump more than what they can collect? Because those collection cups are not that big.
Oh, yeah.
So now you're stopping pumping because you can't collect any more milk and you're leaving even more milk behind in the breast. So that could be a problem too. If this is your only pump and you need to pump after the baby was born because you're separated from them or because they're not feeding well, you need to you're going back to work, situations like that where your supply, especially if your supply is still becoming established within the first 4 weeks or so, and you're using a pump that is not very efficient, can really impact your milk supply. So you just really need to be cautious about it. But these are like they're so popular, and there's so many of them out there now. And people ask, like, what's the best one? What's the best one? And it's like, it really just depends on you, right? It depends on how well it's going to fit you. And you can't run around and try different ones. That's the thing. And with a regular pump, you can use different flanges. You can get different flanges to go to your pump. If you don't like the flanges it came with, you can get a different style of flange. You can customize it to fit you. You can't do that with a wearable necessarily. You can switch things up a little bit, but the flange is the flange. So you really can't change shape, feel, anything like that. So it's going to be a different kind of pump for sure. If you have one and you're worried about it, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my God, now what do I do? This is the only pump that I have. I mean, if it's working for you, you're getting good amount of milk out, then we're not going to worry about it. But really be cautious. If you're pregnant right now and you're thinking about getting this as one of your only pumps, I would definitely not. I would have it as a secondary pump. I would not have it as an only pump.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing I wanted to definitely try to talk about kind of goes along with our first social media thing. And that is the freezer stash obsession.
Oh, yes.
What a trend this is that used to not be. I don't remember this being a big deal 10 years ago. Or maybe it always was.
Yeah,
and I didn't pay attention.
I feel like
I don't know.
because people post those pictures around.
Yeah.
People with like insane amounts of milk that have like milk oversupply problems post these pictures, and then it's like, oh dear God, I don't have enough milk. Or I don't, I have to have this giant freezer stash. I mean, I remember having that. Well, when Jack was born in 2011, my plan was to go back to work, and for some reason had it in my head that I had to like fill the freezer with milk.
Yeah.
I don't even know why.
I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, it's obviously a social media thing. People that really do say, you need to have this, you just feel like you need to have a full freezer full of milk, a deep freeze full of milk, hundreds of ounces saved. And that if you're a good breastfeeding parent, this is what you have. And that is just not accurate. Like, you don't need to have that. And a lot of this did come, like TikTok, Pinterest, all of those things are showing. It's celebrating. Look, I reached 1,000 ounces. Mm-hmm. They're like celebrating these milestones. Very measurable. Like, we live in this society now where everything is measurable, right? If you're not seeing it and you're not measuring it, it's just not happening. And that's a lot of the reason why you have people that are exclusive pumpers. I mean, there's exclusive pumpers for various reasons, but for sometimes one of the things I hear most is I can see what the baby's getting. So I am only pumping so that I can see this milk. And when I see the milk, then the milk is there. So that is really hard. People that are returning to work, like Abby said, she was getting ready to go back to work, and you just had this thought in your head that you've got to have all these ounces. Like, how daunting is that?
Yes.
That you feel like you have to prepare.
I decided not to go back to work. I mean, I was like, I'm not prepared. This is crazy. Like, how I just can't do all this.
Yeah.
I mean, that was part of it.
The truth behind it, most families or most babies only need about a day's worth of milk back up in the freezer. So having all of this milk stashed away is not doing anything for you. It is just taking up your freezer space and making it so that you can't do anything else. Like, people become very obsessed with it and just very controlled by it. So it is very chaotic to be in the postpartum space. Having milk in your freezer and having all of that stash can make you feel like, okay, I've kind of got this backup plan. And that's kind of how I felt. Like, I never had a lot of milk in the freezer because I was home with the kids.
Yeah.
But I was always like, what if something happens?
Yeah.
What if something happens, I get into a car accident and I'm not coming home right away and they need milk? Then what would happen?
I don't know.
Because
but yeah. And I
crazy.
remember having those scenarios too. And in my mind, like now I'm like, you know what? Breast milk would be the least of my worries at that point.
Seriously.
You know, like we're just like, I feel like we're just like, which makes sense, but like we're wired to just have all these like worst case scenarios in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
And when it really doesn't make sense, you're pumping every day. So like, what is this thing? What is this apocalypse that we're pumping for?
Right. We don't need it. We don't need to have those visible results. And a lot of it comes from anxiety and just really that is driving you to create this huge freezer stash that you don't need. Yeah, it's like insanity. So often parents are told like, oh, well, what, my supply dipped at 3 months. What if yours does that? That could happen. And then you'll be stuck. Or when I went back to work, my supply tanked and I didn't have enough milk in the freezer and I needed to have all this. Like, don't worry about other people's situations. This is like all you. Your situation is very individual and you don't need to have thousands of ounces, hundreds of ounces in the freezer. It can create an oversupply for one thing, which can lead to, and we've got episodes about this, it can lead to engorgement all the time, feeling full and uncomfortable all the time, having those plugged milk ducts because your milk just has nowhere to go. You end up with swelling in the milk ducts, mastitis, forceful letdown. Babies end up getting flooded by all this milk and super gassy. And it's like you're trying to protect the supply and you end up creating an oversupply. You're triple feeding because you're pumping after feeds all the time. It's just, you get burned out from using that pump, burned out from trying to save milk, and it becomes a burden, really.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need, talk to a lactation consultant about what you need to do when you return to work. Like that is one of the best things that they can help you do is like talk to you about what your return to work schedule would be like, about how much milk you would actually need to have, how much milk your baby should be taking. Like these are real people that can help you to determine how much milk you should have in your freezer. So definitely talk with somebody about it and get some real answers. So real concrete plan to what you need to do so that you don't have to go crazy. And is it like a red flag? If you have oversupply symptoms, yes, it is. Continuing to pump like crazy person with oversupply symptoms is just going to make things worse for you. So you want to just try to scale it back. And really just realizing that having that freezer stash is not necessarily a badge of honor. Like we don't need it. We don't need to have it.
Like you have a freezer full of milk. Now what?
Yeah. What happens when
you're still lactating? So what are you going to do? What is it there for?
I mean, you could donate it, which is a really great thing to do, but you don't need to have it to begin with. So try to keep that from being something that you need to, that is a driving force for you. And like I said, talk to a lactation consultant. If you have oversupply symptoms, if you need help returning to work, talk to a lactation consultant. They can really help you to get things squared away. But that's it.
Wonderful. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.